Rebecca, I'd like to begin with where you came from. What city and what town you're from?
Yeah, I came from Suchalipi.
Okay.
That was a small town.
And this was in Poland?
Poland, yes.
Right, okay. And can you give me the names of the people in your family, your parents?
Yeah, my parents, my mother's name was Sarah, my father, Avram Vigdor, my oldest brother, Moshe, the next, Yosef, and Mordechai, my sister, Chaya. That was my family.
What kind of business was your father in?
Yeah, my father was a landowner because he inherited. My grandfather was a big landowner, very charitable, and he died after World War I. So my father had to take it over. The typical home life was very nice. We all were close and very together, and we enjoyed our life.
The holidays, can you describe?
The holidays came, yes. The holidays were beautiful, in fact. In our town, our house was dedicated to the Shul for the holidays because there was no Shul. So it came to holidays. The services were in our place. Our town was about 10 families, but Jews came from other towns to our town for services.
What was the nearest large city in Poland?
The nearest large city was Izbica. Then was Zamość, which my mother came from Zamość, and they lived in Zamość for quite years. But then because of the grandfather passed away, so they had to move. Yeah, Zamość was a beautiful city. In fact, I was spending a lot of time. I was going to school in Zamość. I stayed with my auntie because I like the big city life more. Oh yes, antisemitism was always in Poland.
What are some of your memories as a child?
Really, it was not bad. As a child, it started out, you felt it before the war broke out. Then you started feeling that the anti-Semitism. But otherwise, we got along with friends, with non-Jewish friends, and it wasn't too bad. Yeah, no, there was a lot of talk about that there will be a war, but nobody could believe. But everybody who just to hear the word war, it was very, very scary and depressing. Oh, soon the Germans came in. They took away the Jewish possessions. Our home was taken away and gave to our Volksdeutsche. And we had to look for a place.
Do you remember any of the dates or the times that was?
I can't remember the dates, really. I wish I would.
Do you remember how old you were?
I was 19.
And did they just come into the house? Did they give you any warning?
Oh, they just, I don't know how you call it, soldiers, like the Burgermeister. Yeah, he came in and gave you an order that gave you a short time, very short time.
Did you have any idea this was going to be happening?
Not that much, no.
Had you heard rumors to anything going on?
Rumors, you didn't hear rumors. You didn't know. You knew that the Germans will come in. They terrible to the Jews. But rumors, in fact is that the Germans came in, and after a short time, they went out. They moved back, and the Russians came in where we were. The Russians occupied. And they stayed a very short time. When the Russians started going back to their borders, they warned the Jews. They said the Jews should go with them because the Germans will come back. They will be very bad. So in fact, a lot of Jews left with the Russians.
And went where?
They went on the Russian-occupied side. And for a short time, there was nobody. The Russians went out, and the Germans didn't come in right away, the same day. So the Poles threw grenades and bombs into the Jewish homes, broke windows, and were hitting Jews. That was even so. Everybody was happy that the Germans came in already, because it was no leadership. It turned terrible. I stayed with them. They wanted me to work for them.
Who?
The Volksdeutsche.
Germans.
The Germans, yes. So they treated me nice. You know, they were a couple without any children. And my mother and father were at a neighbor's house, just not staying stable, just like, I don't, it's hard to describe the way this life looked.
And your brothers?
My brothers, one brother lived under the Russians. He was over the other side, where that's the oldest brother. He was married. He lived about like from here to New York. Yeah, he married. He lived in a big city. And my other brother was married, and they had one child, Ahuva. Yeah. So they somehow they made themselves. They made papers as non-Jews, and they left. They disappeared completely. You know, they left somewhere where nobody should recognize them that they're Jews.
And that was which brother?
That was the brother what lives now in Israel, Yosh, the second one.
Joseph.
And the third one was killed.
Mordechai.
Mordechai, yes.
Where was he killed?
He was killed. He was taken away on the train and brought to Sabibor or to the concentration camp.
And your sister?
My sister is in Poland. My sister was saved by a Pole. He made her a document as a non-Jewish, and this is how she survived. And after we were liberated, we want her bad. She really should come back and be with us, me and Joe. But she was, as a child, he saved her. So she felt that she owns him something. She would have a guilty conscience living in.
So you were working for these?
For about a couple months. And then it came an order that all the Jews have to leave from there. they told us to go to Goshkov. We leave everything, and they concentrated us in one building.
Mm-hmm.
And the same night, they surrounded the building. There was probably a couple thousand Jews, and some were killed, and some were taken on the train and put to the concentration camps. And I escaped.
Did you know about the concentration camps then?
We did not know yet at that time, no. We knew that, we thought for work. We found out about the concentration camp later on, yes.
In this roundup, were your parents taken?
My father,
Uh-huh.
yeah, was the first one taken, yes.
And
My mother escaped with me. We ran to the woods
that night?
that night, yeah. We stayed in the woods for quite days. It was pouring, the rain, awful. And then it went, a period of time passed by. We came back to the town. A little in the woods, a little with, and some neighbors brought us some food.
Mm-hmm.
That was going on for a couple months, about 3 months. Then again, they send out an order that everybody, wherever is a Jew, must be come to Izbica. There where my husband lived.
Mm-hmm.
So from all over, from all the cities, the people had the order to come to Izbica. So there were quite thousands of Jews there, and everybody knew that they're finishing us.
Mm-hmm.
So some people tried to get ammunition, to go to the woods, and wherever somebody could. Some tried to get papers as non-Jews, so they went to Warsaw.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 cousins, 2 young girls. One was 16, one was 18, blonde, beautiful. They went to Warsaw, but they were not brought out to be able to work. They came back. See, after they had us all in Izbica, they made a ghetto. They gave us like a few houses, and everybody was concentrating. They made an announcement in the newspaper, wherever is a Jew hiding should come out and will be able to be free. We knew it's a trick, but we were struggling. We were hungry, we were cold. So we started out again. We started concentrating. We were in the ghetto. And they occupied it. They put us to work to sort the clothes from all the Jews where they killed. Clothes was in a big temple. So they put us to work to sort the clothes there. We did. After a couple weeks, they started shooting again and killing. We escaped again. Who could? I remember like today, we were in bed. Maybe it was 5 o'clock in the morning. Didn't even get dressed. Just slipped a coat on and a pair of boots and ran to the woods again.
You and your mother?
No, my mother was already gone. I was just with other Jews, not even friends.
What happened to your mother?
Was taken on the train.
How did they make these roundups? In the
How-
ghetto?
That was right after everybody had an order to come to Izbica.
Right.
So then they surrounded, and a lot of them they killed on the place, and then on the train. And I don't know how the miracles happened, how we escaped. It was very difficult, very difficult. You know, soon we hear shooting, everybody ran, and like the mice, but hiding in their holes. This is how the Jews did. Life, I suppose, has such a tremendous willpower that you forget about everything. You just run. We were hiding. It was 2 women and 4 men. The men could not give us enough food. So the food, what he gave us, he could not understand that we can exist. So every morning he would look in the attic, and his words were always the same. Are you still alive? Where will I bury you? You know, he wanted to help us, but he couldn't help us more. So he was really worried what he's going to do with 6 bodies. And he'll come up in the morning and we'll be dead. That time, when they were liquidating, see, that's why it's hard for me to go to Poland back, because I still remember. Blood was like, you know, like a rain. The water is running. This is
Shooting.
shooting.
Were these soldiers shooting?
Soldiers. I was once beaten up in our home. That was in the beginning. Me and my sister-in-law was in Israel. 3 young SS men. They were maybe 16, 15. They almost killed us. They were hitting us, kicking and hitting with the machines, pulling by the hair. I don't know how. And then I fell unconscious. That was in the beginning, shortly after they came in. They were raised to be murderers, those SS.
Was that the
Boys.
first time you ever saw a Nazi?
Yeah. They were beating us. My sister-in-law, who lives in Israel, she's deaf. She thinks just because what they did that time to her.
In the ghetto, you stayed a few months.
Yeah, in the ghetto. See, I was going out with a man, which he had the connection for hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And in the ghetto, I was married.
Mm-hmm.
And after 2 months, he was taken away, killed. He was killed on the place. Yeah. See, while we were working in this temple, sorting the shmatas, you know, we were so tough. We tried to make money. So we took clothes, and he went this morning to give the clothes to the cleaners, and he was cut widely surrounded. Because we knew we're not going to be able to, they're not going to keep us long in this ghetto. So we tried to prepare ourselves to make some money. But
What was his name?
his name was Shlomo. So we were married for about 2 months. Yeah. And thanks to him, I really survived, because he had a lot of connection with non-Jewish. Yeah, we see the 6 people what I was hiding with. One of them was his brother and his wife and her brother-in-law and two other their cousins. Yeah, two of them lived in Israel. And one could not stand the hunger. And after the war, when he survived, the second day after the war, he had some possessions by the Poles. He went to get it, and they killed him.
Mm.
So for 2.5 years, he could not stand hunger and striving, and he survived. So, isn't that something? We went again to the same Paul. So he took us, and then after 6 months, he said he could not keep us any longer because something happened. He was like suspicious that they'll come look for us. And that certain day, that certain night, what he told us to leave, we left. We had no choice. For some reason, one of them knew his daughter. We went to that Paul's daughter, and she took us in. And maybe a half hour later, the underground came to look for us to that Paul where we were before. They came. They beat up that Pollock. They mixed everything up. Can you imagine what a miracle that was? They would have cleaned us. They would have shot us. But they came with machine guns. They found a place where we were hiding. How you see what we could not figure out. How lucky. That was like from God. What do we talk? We talk to ourselves. Why we do that? Why do we didn't care about our life. We just wanted to see what the world will do to Germany, to Hitler.
That's what you wanted to live
Yes.
to see.
Yes.
Because you already knew what happened to your families. Yeah. So you were away from the city.
Away from the city, sure.
So it was,
Yeah,
and she fed you also.
that's right. Yes, we paid.
Did you? I was going to ask you.
We
that.
paid them, yes. Yeah, we paid them per person. But they risked their life. A bachelor, he took us in, also the attic. And he had a brother, the brother was mixed up. So the first night when we were laying in the attic, we heard noise, somebody's running around real loud. That was the, so we thought the Germans are coming to get us.
All right.
Oh my, yeah, but can you imagine the winter without food? It's something unbelievable. Is it the youth does it, or what? That we could survive.
Mm-hmm.
We thought after such a long period of time not to stand on your feet, when we go down, we won't be able to stay on our feet. But we did have the energy, and we were running fast when the time came to go.
Did you come out at night to walk around a little bit, or to go out in the?
No, we were afraid for our own shadow. I remember that one time, my husband was home, Joe,
Yeah.
came to see me. He knew that we are at this man on the attic, and he came to see me. And this happened to be that night what he said we have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So we all went away in the woods. And all of a sudden we hear noise. So we thought, we saw like shadows, our own shadow. And we thought that the Nazis are chasing us, and we were running into the woods. And then we stayed at night in the woods. And then the second night, Joe and Esther's brother went their way, and we went back to find us another place in the dark. When we stayed with this bachelor, once it happened that the Germans had stationed their horses in their barn. That time, 3 days, he could not give us anything. So at night, one of the people went down and took some weeds from the horses. And we survived. Yeah, there were many times the Germans stayed in this, but nobody knew about us. See, that's why he could not give us more food, because he was a bachelor and he was afraid for the neighbors that they shouldn't notice anything. Because evidently at the previous, the one from where we went to his daughter, somebody must have noticed something, because he must have heard something that they're going to come and look for us. A typical day, it didn't make any difference, the day or night. Didn't make any difference. It was just, sitting and laying, and we talked. We were 6 people, so we talked all kind of subjects.
And
we thought we won't be able to see it to the daylight. But nothing. The eyes were fine and the feet were okay.
Had you heard about the crematoriums?
Sure. Yes. Yeah. We knew that they went to the gas chambers. Sure. So if we changed place, we had to go at night. I remember when we were coming from the last one to the first, it poured so terrible. We got stuck in the fields because we couldn't come during daylight. It was daylight, so we stayed in the fields, and everything. And we were hiding, and the rain poured. When we came in at night to this first one, he just was so sorry for us. He took us in. I was very, very miserable. I felt worse than I was hiding, because you see the world, and nobody from us, just the garden. And many times I saw that they're underground. They were, at night, they were with ammunition.
Which underground do you mean?
The Polish.
The Polish.
Polish, yes. And sometimes somebody came in and made a funny joke with me. So then I told the boss, I told the farmer, that I wish not to. For some reason, I demanded respect. And it didn't happen anymore. But I was not happy to be free. Because then you see a beautiful world, and nobody from your family, nobody from our people. So I was getting very depressed. And shortly, when we decided when we're going to be liberated, we should escape 1, 2, 3 from there, go right away to the big city, because we were afraid the last minute the Poles should not kill us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did. We didn't stay 1 hour.
Uh-huh.
We right away went to Zamość.
So you felt the end was coming, or you heard?
Yes, because the Germans were moving out, and the Russians started coming in by us, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were losing. In fact, when we came to Zamość, you know, whoever Jew came, we didn't know each other, but and we hugged and we kissed, and everybody concentrated together in one building. The women started cooking. They sent us in mattresses, and, you know, we all was like a little kibbutz. We started cooking and washing the laundry. Everybody was very, and helping each other. It was like one. How I knew Joe when I was 15 years old. Joe lived in Izbica, and I was going to Zamość, and Joe had a little store, like ice cream, and all kinds. So I stopped for an ice cream. Joe was married at the time. He already had a child. And for some reason, he remembered me. He lost his wife and children. And so because during my hiding, he wanted to see me.
Did you find anybody else from your town when you went back? Anybody else you grew up with?
No.
Any other family?
No. No.
How long did you stay there?
We stayed in Zamość not long. We got married about 3 months later. And
In Zamość?
in Zamość, yeah. And we were not happy with Poland. We didn't want to stay in Poland. So we started looking in how we can start moving away from. And Joe was always the first one.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Breslau by train and tried to look in. You know, we figured if we go to Germany, from Germany we can move farther down. It was so unbelievable how we wanted to start building right away, start to get on the feet. We know we don't belong. We have nothing. We don't belong to no place. But it was no excuse. First we were in Bergen-Belsen.
Uh-huh.
From Breslau, we started moving. We were in Bergen-Belsen. Yeah, your mother was there too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For how long?
For how long? For maybe 6 weeks. That was a DP camp too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were that time already fed from the UNRWA.
And who is that?
That was American.
Oh, Americans.
Yeah. And from Bergen-Belsen, we went to Eschwege.
And that was in Germany?
That was in Germany, yeah. It was also DP camp. What can I say? I went through a lot in my life.
You have 3 children now? Any grandchildren?
Yeah, I have 3.
was a lot to live through.
I wish to be tougher. I have wonderful children, and wonderful grandchildren. And I'm very thankful for that.
Have you ever gone back, Rebecca? Have you ever gone back to Poland?
No. I really don't like to go back, but most likely I'll have to go see my sister.
Has she come to the
Yeah,
United
she
States?
came. She came once, yes.
That's
You
what
never
she
met her?
Yes, I think I did.
Huh.
And you've made trips to Israel?
Yeah, to many trips to Israel.
Do you have, the family that you have left
Yes.
is the brother
Yeah, my brother lived in Israel.
who lives in Israel?
Yes, my niece, my family, cousins. Yeah. You met Mordechai, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm too soft.
No, I don't think so. I think it was too tough. I don't think you're too soft. I really want to thank you for coming this evening.
You're very welcome.